It might be video off. Let me just check. Hey, Dana, can you hear me? Dana?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So you have 6 minutes with them. I'm going to send you timing cues in your text chat window. Please go ahead and slate your name and outlet, and you may begin.
Okay. My name is Dana Abercrombie. I'm from the Koalition.
Hi, Dana.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
It is a pleasure to speak to you. I watched the show and was just floored by how entertaining it was and how incredibly smart it came off. And one of the things that I love the most about the show is the relationship between you two. And at times it feels that you switch off between being kind of like the parent and the child. I feel that at times it's Hilde who's kind of parenting Matt and vice versa. Can you talk a little bit about how was it to get the chemistry between you two? What was it? Was there any kind of rehearsal period like in order to fully dive in to those roles?
You want to talk about that, or shall I talk about that?
You can talk about it first.
Okay. Yeah, what was it like? What the chemistry between me and Brooklyn and bringing that sort of dynamic? Yeah, it was definitely something I was really excited about. You know, I'd worked with some young kids before in some other shows that I'd done, but it was always something that was very much in the background of the story. And so to have this really interesting dynamic between a father and his daughter and daughter and father at the forefront of the dynamic of the show was a huge appeal. And then when I knew that it was Brooklyn that was, you know, was playing Hilde, I knew that it was something that was going to be, you know, really emotionally intricate. I'd seen her work in the Florida Project, and I knew it wasn't just going to be a cutesy kind of family show, you know, that Brooklyn was going to bring a real sort of groundedness and a real reality to this young girl. So, and as far as our sort of chemistry, that was something that just was completely effortless. You know, me and Brooklyn would love to say we worked really hard and intensely to bring that to the screen, but we really didn't. It was something that was very organic. I think the showrunners and the producers kind of saw us together. We did some improvisations and we played some games and we did some scenes from the script before I was cast. So I think they were really looking to make sure that dynamic was there naturally, and it wasn't something that we would have to sort of work on, that chemistry was sort of real from the beginning, you know.
Right. Now, this is inspired by real people. So where do you draw the line between kind of wanting to honor what they went through and also making the character your own?
Well, I think that there needs to be that balance, you know, like you said, of you need to create the character in your mind, and then you need to take the stuff that you have learned from the real person and take the notes and then add it to your character. And it's kind of like mixing it together to make one character.
Right.
Yeah, I think that they wanted us to make our family feel real, you know, so that, you know, we brought our own energies and our own experiences and our own dynamics into the Lisko family, so that it felt as real as possible. And as much as, of course, we were sort of honoring the real story, you know, we sort of had our family, and it was really interesting actually, because the Lysiak family, to which the show is based on, came to visit us on the set. And it felt like two real families kind of meeting at the same time. It was really interesting.
So I was also wondering, the mystery part. I love how it's filmed and how it looks and how you guys really portrayed it. When you was reading the script, were you able to get all of the episodes at once so that you knew what was happening and you knew the big surprise, or was it different episodes at different times when it was filmed?
We didn't get all the episodes at the same time, so we were learning along with you guys. We were like, oh wow, what's gonna happen next? And we're like, oh, did you read episode 2? They're like, no. And I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but this is like super cool. And we're on the edge of our seats too. We're like, what happened to Richie? What happened to Richie?
So because of that, do you feel that it kind of helps with the acting, with not knowing everything all at once?
Yeah, it helps me feel like that drive and passion to actually see where Richie is, to actually want to know where Richie is and actually get the story. And while you're in the mode of Hilde.
Yeah, the TV is
Right.
really great like that. It really feels like you're on the roller coaster ride with the character as you're sort of playing the person that you're portraying. But they were great. They would tell us, they would make sure that we knew all of our own secrets. And, if we had anything that we didn't, that would be discovered later on that we should know about, then the showrunners and producers would make sure that we had our own backstories and that we knew everything about our characters. But if it was something that we were learning as we were going along, then we kind of, we were on that roller coaster ride as well.
Was there anything from your acting toolbox, any type of methods that you used in order to fully get yourself into character?
Well, like I said, I kind of took Hilde, like the real Hilde, and I was like, okay, think of the real Hilde, and then think of your character Hilde, and what would they do, and what was their perspective on it, and try to really feel Hilde and what she felt in the scene.
Okay. And also, lastly, how would you describe Matt and Hildy's perfect day?
Probably out investigating a crime, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two of them sort of out eating ice cream and investigating a crime.
No, drinking coffee, eating donuts, and going on the run and finding out where Richie Fife is. That would be their perfect day.
Coffee flavored ice cream and a true crime scene.
Decaf coffee for Hilde, caffeine coffee for Matt.
Always.
Always.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
What if they asked, what was Hilde's relationship with